Hi everyone, this is Rehana, Sher, an executive coach, once again with another episode of my podcast. And today I have the beautiful Afshin Iftikhar with me, who is a regional head HR at West Point Homes, and she is doing this job for Pakistan and India. And this is going to be very nice to like explore things about what is happening under the leadership of Afshin at West Point Homes when it comes to HR and how is she tackling these both countries. So let's meet Afshin and let's see what she has to talk about her role and what she is serving as an HR leader. Hi Afshin, how are you?
Yeah, hello, Rehana. How are you? Good to be
I'm
here.
good.
Thank you for the invitation.
It's pleasure. It's good to have you, and I'm looking forward to explore so many questions, especially the one major myth that people always say, HR karta kya hai? So we'll be talking about that a lot, and let's see कि HR वाकई में करता क्या है.
Sure, I'm excited to talk about it.
And I'm excited to hear that. Obviously, we all know that HR has great responsibility, but again, this is going to change the perspective of some of the people, definitely. Obviously it's a great responsibility to look after the entire organization when it comes to especially the maintaining perks and benefits of the employees and the overall well-being of the people and definitely the organizational development of the organization as well. So it has, I'm sure, a great responsibility, but let's explore today more and let the people get to know about it. So Shane, first of all, would you like to tell us a little bit about West Point Homes?
Sure. So West Point Home is a 200-year-old organization, and I
Mhm.
recently joined this organization after spending 8 years at Stewart, Pakistan. And this new journey is so exciting for me because this is a mixture of a wonderful group of companies, Icon, and they have multiple groups under this umbrella, which is serving automobile, then textile, then home appliances, then energy in US. So they have a wide range of groups under this one umbrella. So the vision and the leadership is quite strong with strong financial history and very legacy based system. But with the legacy based system, I'm proudly saying because they have the legacy, but they understand the latest technology, latest trends happening in the market, and how they need to revamp their strategies to make sure that they are completely aligned with the latest trends. So I
Mhm.
think I'm part of this global organization serving on the side of Bahrain, China, US, UK, India, Pakistan, and so much more around different small states. So
Mhm.
yeah, very proud to be part of this organization and serving them as regional head of HR for now, Pakistan, India. But if I keep doing well, then of course, then different paths are open.
Excellent, excellent. So, should I ask my first question of you?
Sure, sure, please.
Excellent. So, what HR leadership is all about? How do you ensure that HR initiatives align with the overall business strategy?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because when we talk about HR, I think any HR who is not a leader material shouldn't be in HR from the day
Mhm.
first, and
Mhm.
that doesn't come with a lot of experience or age with numbers. I think it's about a lot of exposure and having attributes related to leadership skill set. So HR leadership is all about guiding and overseeing the HR functions and to
Mhm.
make sure that all the HR functions, whatsoever practices and initiative we are going to bring on the table, those are aligned with company strategy. Because often as an HR leader, I experienced that what we miss, that we keep bringing so many initiatives on the table. We are so excited and bring engagement programs, leadership development programs, mentoring programs, but those are eventually not aligned with the business objectives, and those does not serve the purpose. Then those programs go into vain. We are not able to get any ROI out of it. So the whole purpose or whole ball game, I think, evolves around the business acumen. If you understand the business you're serving, if you are able to define that, okay, clearly that these 1 2 3 business objectives are, so whatsoever practices, policies, initiatives I'm going to describe or initiate or implement, those should be just to serve those business objectives. And
Mhm.
how do I ensure I particularly understand and my team understands that what those business objectives are, how those business objectives are inherited by finance, textile, manufacturing, support functions, marketing, HR. So I think when we sit with all the business leaders, when we talk about that, okay, what is your objective to fulfill the company objective and how I'm going to serve you as an HR business partner, I think that's the whole story.
Excellent. Sounds good. And how do you identify and develop high potential employees within the organization?
Oh my God, that's our biggest challenge nowadays.
Yeah.
Hiring, more than hiring, identifying the potential employees and making sure that those are retained. I think that's the new trend and new challenges that HR is working on. How do I do that? Because I spend a lot of time with leadership team and business leaders and functional leaders on 1, 2, and 3 layers to make sure that I understand their expectations from the future potential leaders and the future talent. So if let's say I'm working for an IT company, so IT company is looking for extremely capable technical leaders when we talk about the good combination of technical abilities and project management skills and soft skills. So I sit with my leaders and understand and evaluate that, okay, we are going to have or retain only high potential resources. And high potential resources are not identified sitting with the leaders only. It's very important that we have those programs implemented in the process where we are providing career development opportunities, where we are providing continuous improvement opportunities, where we are talking about open, fluid conversations when we are talking about performance evaluations. So I think when we provide such opportunities, only then we can identify high potential resources, and only then we can retain them. Otherwise, it will be a jumping. Pardon my example, but that's really frog is jumping from one organization to another, and that frog is suffering, and the organization is suffering. So that is not serving anyone.
True. Makes sense. And what strategies do you use for talent acquisition and retention in a competitive market?
Sure. I think to make sure that the platforms of open and transparent communication is available for employees, because whatsoever challenges employees are having and they are not choosing your organization, that come from people. So when you are providing the opportunity to your employees, like having open town halls maybe once a month, providing the opportunity of having HR to employee one-on-one conversations by keeping the confidentiality intact, and not even his or her leader is going to know that that person met HR. Then you have happy connects, like we used to have happy connects in our organization where different departments and HR is meeting, and we are having different open fluid conversations where employees are open to talk about anything which is bothering them. That could be around their compensation, that could be around, of course we do not go into details because that is very specific resource to resource, but at least I get a vibe, or any HR can get a vibe that, okay, what is cooking in the environment, is culture is going to be impacted, or anything else that is not there, that is missing. So I think, first of all, communication, transparent communication, and having such opportunities available in front of employees. And then extremely important aspect is employee branding. You cannot, as an HR team, can go to every other forum and talk about that हमारी company तो सबसे अच्छी है, our company is best place to work. People should be saying that. Your reviews on the forums should be saying the same, because मैं तो फाइनल इंटरव्यू में आपको सेल कर दूंगी, लेकिन eventually जब आप on ground आ जाएंगी, on board हो जाएंगी, तो eventually you will get to know the reality, the true picture of the
True.
of this site. So I think employer branding, representing yourself as an organization who pays attention to employee engagement in terms of making it meaningful, like you're talking about diversity and inclusion, you're talking about serving community, you're providing opportunities to go and grow in your role, not just in terms of technical training programs, but also investing a lot on the leadership development programs also, because that's the key with the changed business dynamics after COVID situation. I think people are looking forward to organization investing some time and energy and money on their people to make sure that the good potential leaders are retained, because the whole ball game is around the leadership attributes now. So communication, transparency, opportunities around it. Then employee branding is extremely important. That could be social media, that could be your best employer to work with, any kind of choices. And then third is leadership development program, because if your people know, and leadership development program is not that you are sitting a silo in a room and designing a leadership development program. Leadership development programs mean you are sitting with leaders, you are understanding that what they are looking for in future leaders, then you are sitting with people to understand that what their career aspirations are, and then designing the program according to their different needs. I think that is one of few or three of few, I could say, I use as best strategies to make sure that we have a right pool available and they are retained.
Excellent. And can you describe a successful development program that you have implemented at any of your organizations during your 20 years of experience?
Development program.
Yeah.
I think I can think of a program where the major concern of the business was coming as people were continuously not choosing to stay with us because we were working on the old technology. And we were kind of legacy, we were on the legacy-based systems. So not having the latest technology implemented. So the technical resources we had, they were continuously looking for something exciting according to the latest trends for them. So when we figured out this through our different surveys, through different voices of employee programs, through HR Connect sessions, when we got to know, and through exit interviews too, we figured out that people are not choosing the organization, particularly the high potential technical resources, because of lack of development opportunities. And lack of development opportunities means we did not have the proper career path available. I mean, we had the job title, job description, clearly explaining the skill set and everything else. But this era we are living in, they do not expect us to write in our policies कि अच्छा जी आपने कंपनी में एक से एक पोजीशन पे 4 साल गुजार लिए तो ठीक है आप अगले लेवल पे प्रमोट हो जाएंगे. So why a high potential leader or a resource would like to spend 4 years for nothing when somebody can accomplish the same in 2 years? So we had to get out of that orthodox or conventional approach where we removed everything from the policy that you have to invest your 4 years or 2 years or 5 years at a position. However, we moved it to a more strategical approach, and we developed a program around it where we worked with the US consultant company, and we developed a clear path of career expectations. And that path had job family, job classes, job expectation, then job descriptions, clearly defining that what kind of technical skill set you should be having. That could be in a 1 year time frame, that could happen in 10 years time frame, along with very clear expectations on the behavioral side. So that means you as a technical resource alone, you are nothing but a good contributor. But if you are having the other side enabled in yourself as well, where somebody who's valuing the company norms, who is continuously showing the good attitude towards being a good team player, somebody who's extremely excited on the journey of continuously improving him or herself, that combination is going to define you as a good package for the organization. So we defined that very clearly with no expectations of investing your 4 years, 5 years, or any number on any position, but the behavior and the skill set and the attitude. So when we defined that, we had educational programs session as part of the process. We educated managers first. We made our networking group and networking champions to make sure that whatever we are saying, our champions are saying the same and telling the same and selling the same to employees until ground level. And then employees were given the open forum to come and talk to us, share your fears with us, insecurities with us, what is going to happen with your role, how you're going to fulfill the expectations of the organization. So such kind of, and then how did we monitor? We basically sat with employees and we heard about their feedback when this whole process was implemented in 1 year time frame. It was managed very well in terms of implementation in phases. And when any phase was implemented, leader, HR, and functional leader, HR leader, and employee were sitting down to understand are there any questions that we can address? Anything in terms of insecurity you have from this program? Any bright side you see out of it? The concerns you raised when you were having lack of development opportunities. Okay, now everything is set. We are clear on the expectations. So understanding the people aspiration side and career plan side, then we designed employees development program, which is quite integrated with learning development opportunities and training and development. Entire analysis was done based on those feedbacks. So we kind of tied all the functions of HR to make sure that we have the full-fledged 360-degree development plans implemented. I hope it's making sense.
It does make sense, and it does make sense a lot. All right, Afshin. And other very important question, how do you handle the underperforming employees?
Again, no individual should be under pressure that we are going to manage underperforming employee by bringing personal relationship into it. I think, again, my approach should be or would be very structured and on the basis of a process. Nothing in terms of human sentiments involvement, but more of a structured and process-oriented approach. So what I follow that I always encourage all the leaders, and I sit with functional leaders every quarter to make sure that they are communicating the work-related expectations to employees very clearly. Similarly, it's my responsibility and the functional leader's responsibility too to make sure that norms-related, values-related, behaviors-related expectations are also very clear to employees from the day first. And no communication is over communication in terms of making the realization on the table or the reinforcement of good things. So I think every quarter we talk about the same expectations on both sides, behavior and competencies of technical technical side of the competencies, and whatever they are doing, whatever they are saying, employees are continuously in the consensus with the functional leaders, that we know that, okay, whatever you're saying, we are kind of acknowledging it through a system. Like we have performance management system in Workday. So Workday, this tool allows you to acknowledge that, okay, I understand the expectations from me in this quarter, and I know if I will not be performing as per the expectations of the definition, I know I'll be put on PIP, performance improvement plan. And performance improvement plan doesn't define you that you are not a good person, but you have development opportunities, you have development areas where you and your manager would be working together, and we will help you to go through this journey very conveniently. So the employee is still motivated, the employee is not feeling low or less, but the employee side, again, somebody is getting clear vibe, if I'll be able to improve on this but through the systematic approach. Nothing that Jawad as a manager is not liking me, Afshin as head of HR is not liking me, nothing sort of sentiments are there. But anyone close to my heart or not close to my heart knows that this is approach and this is the process, even for Afshin, for everybody else in the organization, it's same. If I'll be improving on those expectations, I will be out of that PIP in 1 month or 2 months time frame. If I keep showing the laziness on the expectations that are set for me, I will be out of this organization eventually, because I'm not a potential leader or potential future talent for the company. So I think that's the approach I follow. I really like that approach, because that allows you to have so many opportunities on the table for the person who needs to improve. At the end of the times, ना कंपनी को कोई शिकवा होता है कि हमने इतना इन्वेस्ट किया तो हमें आगे से क्या मिला, और ना एम्प्लॉय को ये शिकवा होता है कि मुझे अपॉर्चुनिटीज नहीं दी गई या मुझे मार्जिन नहीं दिया गया. And also when put on PIP, so it's not employees' responsibility alone to fix that attitude and get out of that PIP stage or red zone. I think manager is equally paying attention, because the expectation we have set with a leader, that as a leader, you cannot give up on your employee. You have to make sure until last breath that your employee is able to be on his or her toes with your support system. So you have to make sure that you're providing all the support, you are providing all the tools, technologies are there, you are providing, you are understanding any other challenge that somebody is going through. Maybe it's work-life integration is not there. Maybe somebody's frustrated because of anything toxic in the culture. Maybe somebody's value system is not aligned with the company's value system. Maybe the employee is too humble and the manager is too bossy, so the alignment is not there, or anything else otherwise. So there could be a ton of reasons. So we always make sure that leader or the functional manager knows that I will look bad if I have to give up on this employee at the end of the times. So एक psychological responsibility दी हुई है उनको कि इसका अकेले का मसला नहीं है कि somebody needs to get out of that red zone. It's your equal responsibility too. That's how they join hands together, and they make sure that we have to get out of it very gracefully. But if somebody is not kind of showing attitude of improvement, and somebody is really taking it negative in the longer run and becoming a toxic part of the organization, of course, then there is no other choice, unfortunately.
Right. And what about the sensitive employees? There are sometimes, I mean, so many sensitive employees who, require extra care. So how do you deal with them?
Yeah. And and I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, but we have so many sensitive employees in the workforce, in the workplace nowadays, because the difference of generations we have now at workplace.
True, true.
Now, if you look at the Generation Z, they are so blunt in asking different questions.
True.
Even sometimes the senior ones, they get little, they go into that influencer pressure that, okay, I mean, we used to be at that generation that we used to be very obedient to our elders. How can somebody younger than us can ask this question so bluntly? I'm a mother, I know these experiences. So sometimes it hits us. And I think that's the time frame when we need to give ourselves a good nudge that we are working with different generations. That's the beauty of diversity. Now, when you're working with diverse workforce, of course, few people are sensitive because they are brought up that way. Few people are sensitive because they are coming from a very privileged, pampered background.
Yeah.
Few people are sensitive because they have probably some mental challenges or issues. And few people are sensitive because they want to become a reason of any toxicity around. So all the positives and negatives associated with this one word, sensitivity. So by the start of the situation, when you happen to experience anything related to any employee, we cannot be judgmental that his or her situation is related to sensitivity of toxicity or sensitivity towards positivity. So we have to treat everyone on a one scale that is very unbiased, giving yourself a good, calm, soothing effect that you have to deal with it very professionally. Nothing personal, nothing related to your school of thoughts, but understanding the facts and figure why somebody's getting sensitive. Um, telling you a very basic example for the audience to understand that हमारे company में एक one of very senior resources he approached me and he said कि दूसरा जो नया joiner आया है जो कि so called 15-20 साल के experience के साथ आया है but मुझे chat पे लिख रहा है तू मेरे पास आ जा ये बात करनी है right chat पे जिस तरह हम रोमन इंग्लिश में लिखते हैं तो हम वो लिख रहा था and the senior one goes so much aggressive and he was like how can somebody call me this way? I was never called tu karke by anyone in my entire life. When I called the newbie and I tried to understand the background of it, I figured out that the background he's coming from, that's quite neutral to him. It was nothing personal. He didn't even know the person he's talking to, but it was kind of the background he's coming from, and that's the beauty of diversity, right? That's the purpose of having inclusive environment that everybody can be an authentic self at workplace.
Yes.
But by setting the tone that okay, what is acceptable according to the company's value system and norms and behaviors or not. So then you educate your people to be on those grounds. So it was very learning full experience for everyone. I had very good conversation around the person. Then I tried to educate the other person who was a complainant. I told him that that's how we accept differences. I understand he doesn't know you. He didn't mean to disrespect you, but that's how the normal process for him or his work ever. So I think that's very petty, small example tells us so much that, sometimes sensitivity is there. You just need to see it from a neutral eye, give it all the human margin that maybe somebody is not intentionally doing it, but due to any other reason. And then once you figure it out, then educate both parties that what is the common ground to develop the consensus. Because दो से तीन ही structured approaches होती हैं to bring consensus. Either you negotiate or you compromise or you develop consensus with respect. Either way, we have common ground available in form of company's own value system and norms and behaviors. I think that sets the tone. What is acceptable for Rehana, and same is acceptable for Afshin, and whatever is not acceptable for Rehana is not acceptable for Afshin. So I think that's how we set the tone, and that's the beauty of culture.
Excellent. And what is your approach to managing HR-related risks within the organizations?
HR-related
risk.
Oh, I think the foremost risk nowadays is, and I will be very honest with you, 2 decades ago or 1 decade ago, I would say, people used to cover the HR-related risk by controlling the access of the people. Who can post on social media on our behalf, who is not allowed to, जो admin है वो कितने लोगों को बनाना है, admin के अलावा कोई post कर सकता है नहीं कर सकता है, अगर security information related team के साथ मिलके कोई कंपनीज की डीएल्स की सेटिंग्स चेंज करनी है कि किस डीएल्स पे कौन ईमेल्स कर सकता है, किस अथॉरिटी लेवल पे कौन ईमेल कर सकता है, पहले हम इस तरह की अप्रोचेस पे जाते थे. Now we cannot do that. Even with technical abilities we can do that, but that is not an encouraged approach anymore. Now we have to develop a culture where people feel safe and secure in terms of putting their voice on the table. When the company is going with all that transparent, open communication strategies and framework, still, if for example, as an HR leader working with functional leaders and business partners, I know that company is fair in its practices. Company is not keeping anyone's right. Company is not being unfair in someone's final settlement. Or company is not being unfair with someone with their performance evaluation, with the expectations of financial rewards and non-financial rewards. Company is not biased in its practices in terms of giving the rewards to favorite people. Companies does not have politics in terms of pulling people down who are competent by bringing people up who are not competent but favorite to someone. When we have all these practices intact, and you have covered all the risks of HR, then if still somebody goes to social media, if still somebody goes to higher officials, if somebody still goes to even for lawsuit, I think you have to then go ahead and deal with it. Do not take it personal. Because if company did everything with its best intent and practices, I think still there will be many people who will go against you, who would never be mature enough to understand that you had to follow the process which you did. And there is no response of immaturity with immature actions. I think there should not be a reaction, but a more lawful approach. And now, one aspect is very important here, that अब ये सारी प्रैक्टिसेस जो मैंने आपको बताई हैं ये खाली नहीं होनी चाहिए, हवा में नहीं होनी चाहिए। ये सारी प्रैक्टिसेस ऑन पेपर होनी चाहिए। क्लियरेंस ऑन पेपर होनी चाहिए, पीआईपीस ऑन पेपर होने चाहिए, एचआर की जितनी एक्सपेक्टेशंस हर एम्प्लॉय से अलाइंड हैं, उनकी उनके रिवॉर्ड से रिलेटेड, उनकी एक्सपेक्टेशंस ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस एवैल्यूएशन, एनुअल बोनस, एनीथिंग व्हिच वाज कमिटेड टू एम्प्लॉय in terms of fulfillment of expectations. I think ये सारी, starting from employment contract signed by employee, by making sure that all the insurance paper are signed by employee, we are having a complete file available. We are going with EOBI. We are going with PASI. We are going with SESI, whichever is applicable. And we are kind of not afraid of going into labor code even, because we have fulfilled all the requirements at our end. So जितनी भी चीजें मैंने आपको बताई हैं ये सब on paper होंगी. When everything will be on paper and when company is transparent in its practices, I think then it's okay if somebody is still abusing the platforms available, still being disgruntled. So I think you got to deal with that with respect, and by not to be reactive to that situation.
How do you support the managers and employees during the organizational change?
Change management is such a sweet topic, close to my heart. I'm calling it sweet because it's bitter. It's bitter in its implementation. Change management की सबसे खूबसूरत चीज ये होती है कि the changes are coming for something meaningful, to be better, to be a better version of the company or process or people. But on the other side, if the change management process is not dealt well, it can pull you down to ground.
True.
And this is so important. Unfortunately, many educated, experienced professionals and leaders do not understand that bringing change is not a rocket science. Implementing that change management process until bottom level, that is the key. If as a leader you understand that it requires efforts to define a roadmap, it defines or it involves a proper communication plan, bottom top communication in terms of involvement of why it is happening, what is going to be happened, how it is going to be impacted, why we are doing it, why we need your support, what results we are expecting out of it, what benefits we are expecting out of it as an individual contributor, what benefits you are going to get out of it. Not that क्या business के लिए ये कर रहे हैं, as an individual आपको क्या फायदा हो रहा है, आपको क्या एक्सपोजर मिल रहा है, अगर लेट्स से कोई लेगेसी सिस्टम की जगह लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी आ रही है तो एज एन इंडिविजुअल कंट्रीब्यूटर आपको क्या सीखने का मौका मिल रहा है, अगर कोई लीडरशिप टीम इन्वॉल्व है उस लीडरशिप टीम को उस ट्रांजिशन से क्या फायदा होगा. सो वो एस्पेक्ट ऑफ, एंड दैट इज नॉट अ कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोसेस. इट रिक्वायर्स टू बी मोर फोकस्ड अराउंड रोड मैप, be fair in your communication. No communication is over communication. Be clear on the expectations of every party that will be impacted, what benefits organization and individuals are going to get, and then communicating that impact after every phase. They interact with employees that, okay, how you're going to see, this is what we committed, this is what we implemented, we couldn't implement this way, what do you say about it, what is your feedback, then improve on feedback, then ask for feedback, and then be open and agile enough that we can have those changes even we did not think about it at the start of the process. Now we get to know, okay, we did not think about it, so we are getting this feedback from employees and it's important, they are valuable, and this feedback is itself extremely important. Right. So I think this whole process requires a lot of focused efforts. If it takes care of the process, if somebody takes care of the process, you can always influence people to change themselves, any process, and change their attitude. But if the process is not dealt respectably, by having clear expectations and communications, and by telling people what is in it for them, I think that defines how successful the project will be.
Excellent. Moving forward, what methods do you use to measure and improve employee engagement?
I think my experience tells me that what I was not doing, which I have learned with the passage of time, I was only relying on annual service. So what was happening, that people were kind of responding in a specific situation with some specific sentiments. For example, ये हमारे increment का time frame है. So whoever is happy with the increment is showing that extremely engaged, extremely satisfied employee with the company. However, that's a temporary sentiment. Same was happening if somebody is going through some personal challenges. Somebody is not happy with the boss, or not happy with the timing, or maybe work-life flexibility is not there. So because of one aspect of whatever he or she was going through, it was set as a measurable, quantifiable number for that employee, that somebody is satisfied or engaged or not. Right. So what I shifted it to pulse checking surveys. Pulse checking surveys are kind of happening after every 2 months. So it's a very brief, short survey. It's just to understand that how people are going through. No enforcement of filling it out by everyone. No involvement of leadership to enforce anyone. People, it's completely employees survey. So employees were given the opportunity to talk about, okay, how you're feeling in this particular situation. Are you familiar that what are the objectives for the company for this quarter? Do you know that how you can contribute to those objectives in this quarter? Are you completely aware? Are you recognized and rewarded by your employees in last 2 months? So such kind of things were telling me and my team to make some data-driven analysis and to make some data-driven decisions that, okay, if people were kind of engaged and satisfied and motivated at that point in time or not. So when I started doing this pulse analysis or pulse survey, I think it helped me a lot to assess there where do I stand in terms of people engagement and motivation, rather confusing it with any specific situation happening in the organization. Leadership भी change होती है तो लोग ये कह रहे होते हैं we are feeling insecure. Nothing to do with that. बट लीडरशिप एक बंदा चेंज हुआ है तो ट्रिकल डाउन इफेक्ट ये आता है कि अच्छा पता नहीं अब हमारी जॉब है या नहीं है या हमारे साथ क्या होने वाला है. So just to avoid that, the holistic ideology that employees were taking in terms of giving the feedback based on one small sentiment or one small situation they are in, I think Pulse survey helped me a lot. And alongside that, again, I can never emphasize less on the part of having transparent and open communication platforms. I know it requires a lot of efforts and energy and time on HR side if they have to provide all such opportunities to connect with people, particularly if the organization size is big. But I think as an HR leader should be paying attention on defining one group and assigning one person each group to make sure that that person is always readily available to listen to that particular group and be the voice for them to you. That's important if you have huge number of headcount or employee base. But if you have a small or mid-sized organization, I think HR leader should be involving him or herself to know that what is happening on ground. And that all, I think, depends on on how people take you as a transparent and trustworthy leader. It's very important because अगर आपके actions में और आपके words में तजाद है तो आप जो मर्जी कर लें, आप जितने मर्जी competent leader हैं, आप जितने मर्जी अच्छी strategical approach के साथ आए हैं, people would not follow you. They would not be opening up with them, with you. And I think that will always be a challenge. The foundation is the impression of being a trustworthy leader. And that all comes with experiences. Nothing that you can just go and say that I'm a trustworthy leader and people will start trusting you. You have to gain that.
True, absolutely. And how do you handle the conflicts and issues that you get to see most of the time at the workplace?
Okay. I think बड़ा मजे का आपने क्वेश्चन किया because usually मैंने क्या चैलेंज एक्सपीरियंस किया और एक्सपीरियंस भी किया अपनी करियर में भी और यूजली लोगों को ये गलती करते देखा है जिसको मैं यहाँ पे जरूर बात करना चाहूंगी. रेहाना, हम ये करते हैं कि हम HR एज अ फ्रेंडली फेस और एज अ फ्रेंड ऑफ एवरीवन हम उसे बहुत कंफ्यूज करते हैं कंप्लायंस के साथ. अक्सर लोगों को कंप्लायंस करने में चैलेंज आता है, अकाउंटेबिलिटी में चैलेंज आता है, ऑब्जेक्टिव अकम्प्लिश करवाने में चैलेंज आता है बिकॉज आपका इंप्रेशन ये होता है कि मैंने लोगों के साथ गुडी गुडी रहना है और लोगों के साथ मेरा इंप्रेशन बड़ा अच्छा फ्रेंडली होना चाहिए. वी शुड बी फ्रेंड्स विद वन अनदर. देयर इज नो डाउट अबाउट इट. आई एम फ्रेंड ऑफ एवरी सिंगल एम्प्लॉई. I was a friend of every single employee. I will always be. But on the sideline, when you are working on any compliance related matter, it's extremely important that you have a process intact. So you are not just talking to employees as like I'm talking to my employees or I've seen to a lead relationship, but that is more about you have a process and that process is transparently communicated. That process is going to be the same from bottom to top. That process is going to have some accountability associated with that. And everybody is quite aligned with that. So at the end of the time, it's not pressure on Afshin or anybody else that we have to play good, but we have to play neutral, unbiased. Not to support any side because you like someone or you don't like someone either way. So I think in my entire career and in my entire life, I'm proud of the fact that I'm very unbiased and neutral person in this capacity. I love building trust-based relationship with people, but when it comes to compliance part, I help people go through the process with respect and dignity. आप एक workplace का conflict आ गया है, obviously it's my responsibility to interrogate. First of all, I have to play neutral. I cannot take side and make an impression कि ये गलती तो इसने की है या ये गलती इसने नहीं की. I'm no one. I'm not a judge here. So my responsibility is not to police here or judge here. My responsibility is to provide a platform to leaders. So first of all, listen to both parties individually, taking maximum notes. gathering all the data and information and emails and everything else as supporting evidence around that this situation or interrogative situation which has happened, and then help people to be open up with you. Provide them platform that if you will be opening up and you will be sharing whatever you did as you think was wrong, I will be there to help you, to provide you development opportunities. So I'm not the one, not a police one जो कि आपको जेल में डाल देगा उसके बाद या आपकी नौकरी छीन लेगा, but I'm the one who is going to help you कि अच्छा ठीक है तुमसे गलती हो गई है, just talk about it candidly man to man and we can always figure out the solutions out of it, and we do that, and again it trickles down to that how you are perceived as a trustworthy person, only then it will be happening. तो जब वो लोग आपके साथ खुल के बात करेंगे and they would be very comfortable in sharing their own challenges and mistakes and insecurities, and you provide them the same respect level that you are providing to someone who is on a right foot. आप उसको वही रिस्पेक्ट दे रहे हैं, डिग्निटी दे रहे हैं, आप सुन रहे हैं, और देन एट द एंड ऑफ द टाइम्स यू नो द अकाउंटेबिलिटी इज बेस्ड ऑन द हैबिट्स ऑफ दैट बिहेवियर. आप अगर एक शख्स की कॉन्टिन्यूस वही हैबिट है तो ऑब्वियसली वो आपके साथ कैंडिड बात कर भी लेगा तो यू नो द हिस्ट्री, तो ऑब्वियसली उसका पाथ यू नो दैट अकाउंटेबिलिटी होगी उसकी, जो भी आप एक लीगल एचआर प्रोसेस फॉलो करते हैं. बट अगर somebody is really did not get enough opportunities to develop him or herself, but now you are kind of providing the opportunities. So I think that's the best. That's the best as a friend favor you can give to someone, that you can help him or her to work on his or her attitude and to make the person realize that it's okay to make mistakes. We are understanding that we are making ourselves better, and that's the whole story. Because eventually, if that behavior gets improved, you have set the tone for that person for the rest of his or her life. So as an HR leader, you impacted someone's life so beautifully, and you followed the process too. So I think that's how at least I practice the conflict process at work.
Right. Very nice. And how do you approach performance management and employee feedback?
Of course, we talk about it a lot, Rehana, whenever it comes to performance evaluation. कि जी लोगों के लिए surprise नहीं होना चाहिए. Of course, we should be expecting from any well-reputed organization performance management system that there shouldn't be any surprise for people at the end of the year or biannual process, whatever you're following in terms of giving people increments and bonuses and everything else. But the learning I gained from my experience and the mistakes I made, I'll be very candid, is that never confuse increment or bonus or any financial changes with performance evaluation feedback. So performance evaluation feedback, I have shifted it at least to quarterly feedback, and that is a fluid-based conversation. Nobody's going to tag you with 1, 2, 3 rating. Nobody's going to make you feel less or low or anything else that doesn't allow you to be yourself. So it's all about that. Let's say I'm reporting to you. So you and I are meeting every quarter. We are setting 2 goals, 2 technical goals. One, development opportunity in terms of soft skill or in terms of leadership programmability or any behavioral improvement that I need to make. So you and I are developing consensus on those 3 objectives. And we are meeting every quarter to make sure that, okay, इस quarter के objective fulfill हुए नहीं हुए, क्या challenge था, was I be, it's about, was I having all the resources which I needed or requested for, or was I having all the tools that I needed for to do the job done or the objectives accomplished? Number 1. Number 2, was I motivated for that? Was I given the reward and recognition that I was excited for and I was looking forward to? It's not about the annual performance or bonus, and it's not about even financial reward and recognition I'm talking about here. Did you recognize me publicly in town halls, in any of the chairman award program, in any of the star of the month program, or anything, any name that we can see many companies are implementing? So was I given any specific charm that if you will be able to do this, you'll be able to accomplish this? Because at the end of the times, या तो accountability होती है किसी चीज की या reward and recognition होता है. और अगर कल हम खाली reward and recognition पे काम कर रहे हैं तो भी culture spoil होता है. People usually go into laid back approach. और अगर खाली accountability होती है तो भी it makes people frustrated कि जब हम कुछ अच्छा करते हैं तब तो हमें कुछ मिलता नहीं है. So these quarterly evaluations allow us to have fluid conversations, be very clear on the expectations, be very clear on reward and recognition and accountability side. And this eventually takes away the shift of employee from financial changes to improving the performance side or improving the behavior side. आप एम्प्लॉय को ये टेंशन नहीं है कि मुझे क्वार्टर के बाद कुछ मिलना है या नहीं मिलना इन टर्म्स ऑफ फाइनेंशियल्स। आप एम्प्लॉय का फोकस ये है कि मैंने क्वार्टर के बाद ये 3 चीजें कंप्लीट करके अपने मैनेजर को इम्प्रेस करना है या ये रिवॉर्ड रिकग्निशन हासिल करनी है। That could be small sport award. That could be chairman award in terms of a flag or something. That could be a tag on your shoulder or anything else.
Excellent. So another important question that I feel like should be asked: how do you support the managers and employees during the organizational change?
Change management is such a sweet topic, close to my heart. I'm calling it sweet because it's bitter. It's bitter in its implementation. Change management की सबसे खूबसूरत चीज ये होती है कि the changes are coming for something meaningful, to be better, to
True.
be a better version of the company or process or people. But on the
Yes.
other side, if the change management process is not dealt well, it can pull you down to ground.
True.
And this is
Absolutely.
so extremely important. Unfortunately, many educated, experienced professionals and leaders do not understand that bringing change is not a rocket science. Implementing that change management process until bottom level, that is the key. If as a leader you understand that it requires efforts to define a roadmap, it defines or it involves a proper communication plan, bottom top communication in terms of involvement of why it is happening, what is going to be happened, how it is going to be impacted, why we are doing it, why we need your support, what results we are expecting out of it, what benefits we are expecting out of it as an individual contributor, what benefits you are going to get out of it. Not that कि आप business के लिए ये कर रहे हैं, as an individual आपको क्या फायदा हो रहा है, आपको क्या एक्सपोजर मिल रहा है। अगर लेट्स से कोई लेगेसी सिस्टम की जगह लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी आ रही है तो एज एन इंडिविजुअल कंट्रीब्यूटर आपको क्या सीखने का मौका मिल रहा है। अगर कोई लीडरशिप टीम इन्वॉल्व है, उस लीडरशिप टीम को उस ट्रांजिशन से क्या फायदा होगा। सो वो एस्पेक्ट ऑफ एंड दैट इज नॉट अ कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोसेस. It requires to be more focused around roadmap. Be fair in your communication. No communication is over communication. Be clear on the expectations of every party that will be impacted. What benefits organization and individuals are going to get, and then communicating that impact after every phase. They interact with employees that okay, how you're going to see, this is what we committed, this is what we implemented, we couldn't implement this way, what do you say about it, what is your feedback, then improve on feedback, then ask for feedback, and then be open and agile enough that we can have those changes even we did not think about it at the start of the process. Now we get to know, okay, we did not think about it, so we are getting this feedback from employees and it's important, they are valuable, and this feedback is itself extremely important. Right. So I think this whole process requires a lot of focused efforts. If it takes care of the process, if somebody takes care of the process, you can always influence people to change themselves, any process, and change their attitude. But if the process is not dealt respectably, by having clear expectations and communications, and by telling people what is in it for them, I think that defines how successful the project will be.
Excellent. And how do you feel like HR people can stay motivated? Because obviously they're always there to support the other employees or their people within the organization.
I always go back and tell you my learning, because that's how I acknowledge to myself that I did some mistakes and I learned out of it. And I want to tell the audience that everyone makes mistake. Once I started my journey, of course, I did not have this much experience. And even after 10 years from now, I will be looking back and saying the same, that, okay, at this point in time, I made some mistakes, which I was not supposed to. So it's all about acknowledging to yourself. So I think if I talk about this whole learning process around, I kept thinking a decade ago or 15 years ago that, this is a thankless job. I used to feel that way at one certain point, that it is not a rewarding job. You keep giving everything to people. You keep thinking about people, but at the end of the times, you are not getting the same for yourself.
Right.
But I think that's leadership. Now, sitting after 15 years from the history, I can tell you, I'm so proud of this fact that I'm becoming the reason for people to be better. I'm becoming the reason for people to be authentic, enjoying their life, knowing their purpose, not only earning, but learning so many things for their future development, and getting better in terms of their behaviors, which is not going to impact this organization, their home, their friend circle, their professional organization they're going to serve in future, or if they're going to be entrepreneurs, it is going to be excellent opportunity for them to become as a strong leader. So I think, and now I realize that HR itself is a leadership game.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I started off with this ideology that
Mm-hmm.
every HR person, regardless of the experience, tenure, or age, that person has to be a leader, because only a leader can think that whatever I'm doing for people, it is going to have a huge impact on them, and I'm so proud of it, and I'm going
Right.
to be the reason, and I'm going to implement those things in my organization where everybody is going through that tunnel with respect, dignity, by going through a transparent process, and at the end of the product, whichsoever tenure company that employee has with the company, वो 2 दिन का टाइम फ्रेम है या 20 साल का टाइम फ्रेम है, वो जब मेरे इन्फ्लुएंस सर्कल से बाहर जाए रिसोर्स या लीडर, that is a better version of him or herself.
Right.
And when that person looks back, I'm one of the reasons for that person to be better.
Right.
That gives me such a sense of accomplishment that I don't even care if I'm getting the same thing for me in reward. It's a thankless job, it's an administrative job, it's a painful job. I don't even think about these things anymore until I did not have a realization on the impact of this HR role on people, on the organization. I was naive enough to feel that way. But I think now I really feel proud that I chose this field, not by accident, but by my choice.
Brilliant. And what professional development opportunities do you pursue to stay current in your field? And what would you recommend to other HR professionals to keep themselves updated?
I'm a big fan of moving on the journey of continuous improvement.
Mm-hmm.
It's my goal that I have to do 2 certifications every year, regardless of my personal and professional challenges and ups and downs and the priorities I have in my life. I
Mm-hmm.
think that helps me, because every year when I go through 2 certifications, that has to be aligned with the global HR standard practices and trends.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I'm continuously enhancing my technical side of HR skill set.
Right.
And then my second favorite topic is networking. So networking, not to meet and greet, but to learn from others.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm a co-founder of a platform that provides learning and networking opportunities out of no profit to people. And the whole purpose of that platform is to provide every month different opportunities to our youngsters, to senior professionals, and to CEOs to interact with one another and learn that what is happening in the market. Like last month, we had a session around smart leadership. So
Mm-hmm.
smart leadership techniques, we invited many CEOs and many senior professionals, where I also learned from different voices of CEOs that how they think that smart leadership works in today's era.
Right.
One of the CEOs was from Airlink, one was from IT company, one was entrepreneur, one was from training and development kind of opportunities companies that provides. So from all the leaders of different domains, I myself got to learn, though I was the co-founding, I was the moderator, but I arranged that for people. But my hidden agenda was that I'm going to learn so much more from
Mm-hmm.
this.
Right.
And that's what I keep doing.
Right.
I keep learning from any age, experience, and I'll keep learning from diverse group, that
Mm-hmm.
how I need to be better. What is another school of thought? What is another school of opinion that I'm probably not aware of? And that shouldn't be staying locally. It has to be global too. So you also
Right.
understand the global practices happening around the world. So
Right.
number one is continuously improving yourself on the path of HR trends, and keeps yourself updated on the technical side of HR, functional knowledge of HR, you could say. Second is networking and learning from every single person you interact with, and help others to learn from you also. You also become
Right.
that coach for people, that people also learn from your experience and exposure. You are not a closed book, but an open book that everyone can take advantage from. And number three is you should always be very intact and updated with the HR generals and HR magazines, which
Right.
are continuously, and you keep following those HR gurus on LinkedIn and Facebook, who are continuously publishing their blogs. They are continuously talking about what is happening in the industry, what HR needs to do in this situation, how HR can be a better HR business partner, and so much more around it. So I think it's all about staying interested, that you have to be better as an HR leader. That's what I
And
do, and that's what I would request, not recommend. I would humbly request everyone to follow the same, or
excellent.
maybe
And
even
my
better.
upcoming question was also the same, like any message that you would like to give to the new entrants who are, aspiring to get into the HR field. I'm sure that implies for them as well a lot. Um, or if you would like to add anything else into that.
I think this is a time, an era we are living in for social media. But somehow, unfortunately, Rehana, we have taken it too way seriously in terms of showing followers on Insta and LinkedIn. हमने अपनी वो पेन ही बना ली है. That is important, but that is one just simple aspect out of 100 others. So I think हमें उस साइड पे भी थोड़ा सोचना चाहिए कि हर वक्त LinkedIn, Facebook doesn't help. ठीक है, you should be influential enough on the media that you are getting good opportunities, you are kind of connecting with good people that you're going to learn from. But that's one aspect. Second most, first most important aspect for me is on the journey of continuous improvement. The second most important aspect, I told you, networking and learning from one another. Third most important is to keeping an eye on the blogs and the international standards and trends happening. And then even social media does not come on my list. I know it's important, but I think it should not be in top 5 for the people who really want to excel in their career. Yes, this is important. Keep it on 6. But for top 5, choose your priorities, that how you're going to set your impression. Like I mentioned you in one of the examples, कि अगर आप कहते रहेंगे as an HR leader कि हमारी company तो employer choice है versus आपके employees कहें कि company जो है I would like to be proudly associated with this organization for 10, 20 next years. Similarly, that same example applies here कि rather मैं ये जाके कहूँ कि I am the one influential and motivator and the person who's creating impact in my organization and the people around me, the people following me, or not only following me, the people who feel that I have some impact on them, they should be talking about me on social media. That's the success. And I think if once I accomplish that, I don't need to even get 100 or thousands of followers. My purpose is fulfilled.
True. Very well point mentioned here. And with that, I think we have taken lots of time, but it was wonderful to have you here because you have actually, explored a lot. Actually, you have told us a lot about, HR leadership and, the problems that are faced by the HR leaders and by the employees. How do the HR tackle all these problems, the, different types of people. So it is actually a big responsibility, and hats off to HR people. They are doing it wonderfully. And thank you so much, Afshin, for your time and for all your ideas and all your experiences that you have shared with us so far. Thank you so much.
Of course, Rehana, it was such a pleasure to be here. And honestly, I feel that you are doing such an awesome job because the way you are learning from everyone and you are sharing your own experience with everyone, that is creating a lot of impact in the society. I wish you the best. And I wish that all of us realize our true impact in the society and we keep learning and doing on the same platform. So thank you so much for the invitation.
Inshallah. Thank you. Pleasure to have
you. Of course, thank you. Have a very good rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Same to you.